It's precisely 1:15. This is the news on Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News is edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe, read by Sabrina Zawahir. The headlines. The United National Party says that the interim budget will provide relief to the people. Commissioner General of Labour emphasises that Employees' Provident Fund is safely kept. Unit 1 of the Norachole coal power plant added to the national grid. Private bus operations hampered due to fuel crisis. Farmers will be able to use both organic and chemical fertilizer for their cultivations in the next season. And in world news, efforts to pass Global Ocean Protection Treaty fail. And in sports news, the first match of the Asia Cup cricket tournament will be played in Dubai today between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan. Now the local news in detail. Chairman of the United National Party, Vajirabe Gunawardena, says that the interim budget, which will be presented in Parliament next week, is a people-friendly one that provides relief to the people. He said the aim is to protect the people by adding recurrent expenditure to overcome the economic crisis. He told SLBC today that the government hopes to earn new income through amended taxes. He further said that a positive response is expected from the IMF to the interim budget. Mr. Abewardena expressed belief that the interim budget would be able to lessen the pressure in the country due to the COVID pandemic. New reforms will be introduced for children's education. The interim budget will rectify unsuitable measures taken by the financial institutions which affect the forward movement of the country. The chairman of the UNP said the government is preparing a program to meet daily needs of the people while increasing nutrition levels of the children. Commissioner General of Labour, Prabhat Chandrakirti, says that the Employees' Provident Fund is safely kept. He said that allegations levelled by some trade unions stating government is trying to steal the fund is totally false. He pointed out that the government has not taken any such measures. Mr. Chandrakirti said online facilities have now been introduced for the convenience of the beneficiaries. Ceylon Electricity Board says Unit 1 of the Norachole coal power plant, which experienced a breakdown on August 15th, has been restored and added to the national grid yesterday. Electricity Board media spokesman Andrew Navamuni said after resuming operations, 300 megawatt of power added to the main grid and it would help to reduce the power cut duration. Meanwhile, Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has requested the CEB General Manager to look into the possibility of reducing the daily power cut duration as the power plant has resumed operations. Chairman of the Private Bus Owners Association, Gamanu Wijeratna, says that operating private buses has been hampered due to the fare crisis. He said today that running of private buses has been limited to 25%. He requested the government to provide relief and restore the private bus service. Meanwhile, Deputy General Manager of the SLTB, Panduka Swarnahansa, said their buses are being operated as usual. This news is brought to you by Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing local news. Chairman of the Commercial Fertilizer, Metsiri Wijegunawardena, says the distribution of fertilizer will be made more methodical and efficient in future. He said farmers can use both organic and chemical fertilizer for their cultivations. He further said there was a reduction in harvest in the Yala season since they commenced cultivations using organic fertilizer. However, he said there are farmers who have received a good harvest using organic fertilizer. He added that they hope to work continuously with organic fertilizer producers according to government policy. Agriculture and Wildlife Minister Mahinda Amaravira says wild boars, monkeys and hedgehogs have been removed from the National List of Animal Protection Act so far. Addressing a meeting held at Hambantota, the minister said that elephants, wild boars, hedgehogs, monkeys and peacocks have been categorized as creatures that are causing harm to crops and agrarian activities. He said Wild boars, monkeys and hedgehogs have been removed from the Animal Protection Act, and the power to control those animals will be given to the agriculture committees. Deputy Chairman of the Petroleum Distributors Association, Kusum Sadanayaka, says that QR code system is successful and filling station owners are bound to follow the method. He said that quantity of fuel received by filling stations island-wide is not sufficient. Therefore, he said fuel queues could occur again. Public Security Ministry says police will launch a special operation from today to suppress the underworld operatives. This decision was taken during a discussion chaired by Public Security Minister Tiran Alas, the IGP, senior DIGs of Western and Southern Provinces, TID, Criminal Investigation Department, the Commandment of the Police Special Task Force and several senior police officers have attended the discussion. 5 passengers coming from Oman with a large stock of counterfeit cigarettes worth over 16 million rupees was seized by Sri Lanka Customs at the Bandaranaike International Airport yesterday. Customs officials at the BIA arrival terminal on suspicion searched a group of male passengers coming in a flight yesterday and found the large stock of foreign cigarettes in their baggage. With that, we conclude the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Community medical specialist Dr. Nimalka Panilahettis says a 3-day special dengue control program will be conducted from September 1st to 3rd, covering the 60 high-risk medical officer of health divisions. She said this while speaking at a special media conference held at the Government Information Department regarding the risk of the spread of COVID-19 and dengue. She said inspections will be conducted by teams with the support of the armed forces and the police covering the districts of Colombo, Kalutara, Gaul, Gampaha, Kandy, Kegol and Ratnapura. That was main news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
The Labour Department will launch an online platform enabling beneficiaries to reserve a date and a time in advance to get their paperwork done from September 1st. The hotline 1958, the hotline 1958 or the web link appointment.labourdepartment.gov.lk. The web link once again, appointment.labourdepartment.gov.lk will be available for this with effect from September 1st. The online facility will be available at all district, sub and divisional offices of the Labour Department from September 1st onwards. That was Watchlight.
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
Moving on to world news, taking a look at the headlines of the world news. Efforts to pass Global Ocean Protection Treaty fail. Russia is to build 2 nuclear reactors in Hungary. The US stock markets are down after interest rate warning. Now the world news in detail. A 5th effort to pass a global agreement to protect the world's oceans and marine life has failed. Talks to pass the UN High Seas Treaty had been ongoing for 2 weeks in New York, but governments could not agree on the terms. Despite international waters representing nearly 2/3 of the world's oceans, only 1.2% is protected. Environmental campaigners have called it a missed opportunity. Hungary's foreign minister said Russian nuclear-powered giant Rosatom will begin constructing 2 new nuclear reactors in Hungary in the coming weeks. The deal reached between Russia and the EU state in 2014 aims to expand the existing nuclear plant. Russia's nuclear industry has not been subjected to EU sanctions over its bloody invasion of Ukraine. Moves to isolate and sanction its oil and gas exports have not been unconditionally supported by Hungary. Stock markets in the US ended the week sharply down following tough comments by the head of the country's central bank, the Federal Reserve. The bank's chairman, Jerome Powell, said the bank must continue to raise interest rates to stop inflation from becoming a permanent aspect of the US economy. His words sent US stocks into a tailspin, with markets tumbling 3%. It comes as Americans have to pay more for basic goods. Inflation in the world's largest economy is at a 4-decade high. With that, we conclude the world news. Prior to concluding the headlines of the world news once again, efforts to pass Global Ocean Protection Treaty fail. Russia is to build 2 nuclear reactors in Hungary. The US stock markets are down after interest rate warning. With that, we conclude the world news. Moving on to development news. Country Director of the World Food Programme to Sri Lanka, Abdul Rahim Siddiqui, was engaged in an observation visit of the development projects in the Batticaloa district yesterday. The Director of the World Food Programme visited Batticaloa and discussed the progress of the development work being done there. He observed the development of agricultural tanks, wells and drains in Batticaloa district with financial contributions from the World Food Programme. He also observed livelihood support programs and distribution of agricultural inputs. That was development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
While we take a look at the sports news, first is cricket. The 15th edition of the Asia Cup Cricket for men will be played in Dubai and Sharjah from today to the 11th of next month. India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan and the winner of Asia Cup qualifier will compete for the DP World Cup Asia 2022. A total of 13 matches will be played in Dubai and Sharjah. The opening match of the tournament will be played between Sri Lanka and Afghanistan tonight, and the finals will be played on 11th September at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. This is the 4th time that the Asia Cup will be held in UAE. Moving on to cycling. Preparations are underway for the cycling challenge, which will be held tomorrow at Vihara Mahadevi Park, Colombo, from 8 a.m. onwards. It is organized by the Cycling Federation of Sri Lanka under the guidance of the Ministry of Youth and Sports for the 2nd consecutive year. Comprising 7 races, the event is expected to draw participation from over 500 cyclists. That was Sports News.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Lanka Hospitals Corporation posted a profit after tax of 2.7 billion rupees for the 6 months ending on June 30th, 2022. For the period, Lanka Hospitals recorded a gross turnover of 5.25 billion rupees and an operating profit of 801 million rupees. Together with the operating profit, investment income and exchange gains, Lanka Hospitals has reported a strong financial position, reflecting a profit growth of 140% compared to the corresponding period of the previous year. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Moving on to economic news. The central bank has joined hands with the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment to popularize the Lanka Remit mobile application. An event was held yesterday at the Foreign Employment Bureau to promote the features of the mobile application to the migrant workers preparing to commence work abroad. Lanka Remit was launched to provide Sri Lankan expatriates with access to a fast, secure and more convenient remittance channel to send money to Sri Lanka. That was the economic news. Finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Met Department says showers will occur at times in western Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy rainfall above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in Sabaragamuwa province and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places elsewhere during the evening or night. Fairly heavy rainfall about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in Uva province and in Ampara and Batticaloa districts. That was the weather report, and prior to concluding this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The United National Party says that the interim budget will provide relief to the people. Commissioner General of Labour emphasises that employees' provident fund is safely kept. Unit 1 of the Nurachole coal power plant added to the national grid. Private bus operations hampered due to fuel crisis. Farmers will be able to use both organic and chemical fertilizer for their cultivations in the next season. With that, we conclude the news, and over to my friend and certainly yours, who's all geared up to keep you entertained with a wonderful collection of music indeed. Over to you, Asanka.